Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that's not in theaters, and it's not a movie that actually hit theaters. It's actually a direct-to-video animated DVD titled Batman Arkham Asylum. So it's a really great animated DVD that I'm going to be talking about, and hopefully maybe some of you can be convinced to go check it out. First of all, the animation in this movie is really good, especially for a movie that's not like a high-budget animation like Disney would do. To me, the DC animated movies have always been really well animated for the budget that they're on, and sometimes especially the action scenes, the animation that they can pull off sometimes on the type of budget they're on can be really impressive sometimes. I find myself really impressed, like especially if you go back and watch the original Batman the Animated Series from 1992 and compare it to the animation that they're able to do today. To me, it's like leaps and bounds better than what it used to be. The casting characters in this movie is a lot of fun, and the cast especially, they all do a really solid job on all the voices. The characters themselves, Deadshot is one of the main characters, so is Harley Quinn. Basically, this movie, even though it's called Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman actually has a smaller role than you might expect. It's actually more about the Suicide Squad, which is this group of villains recruited by Amanda Waller. And, they go on this mission for her towards Arkham Asylum to get the Riddler, because the Riddler has something that can cause a little bit of trouble for all of them. So I think it was a really great story, a really fun story that they played around with, and the characters all worked well together. And that's something I really enjoyed about the movie, was that it wasn't about Batman, that it was about the Suicide Squad instead, because I think Batman has so much focus in every version, whether it's TV or movies, that like give the direct-to-videos a chance, let some other characters have their time to shine. And I think this was Warner Brothers' way of doing that, by tricking the audience that, hey, this is another Batman, video coming out, and then it turns out to actually be a Suicide Squad movie, which is really cool because I seen the Suicide Squad also on Arrow last season, Arrow season 2 on the CW, and some of the characters either had cameos or, like, I know Deadshot was part of that Arrow episode. I think he was the only character. I know Harley Quinn had a cameo, but yeah, I think Deadshot was the only character from this direct-to-video that was in the Arrow episode, also the Suicide Squad episode. But yeah, I mean, it's great when other characters besides Batman or Superman get exposure to the general audience, and that's what this movie does really well. Speaking of the cast and characters, I gotta always bring up Kevin Conroy as Batman. For those of you that don't know, Kevin Conroy has been doing the voice of Batman since 1992 in Batman the Animated Series, and has been doing Batman throughout for practically over 20 years already. And I think for a lot of hardcore fans, he is the definitive Batman, his voice anyways. Because you hear him in these movies and he just naturally, he has it. He's perfect at it. And it's always fun to hear him as Batman again, because whenever I hear another voice as Batman in these animated direct-to-videos, they just don't sound right to me. There's something about them that's always a little bit off. But when Kevin Conroy comes back, it's like that familiar voice that you love to hear. There's been a couple of voices that have been okay throughout the years that could replace Kevin Conroy if he ever decides to step down. But so far, if Kevin Conroy's back, we all, I think, really appreciate it a lot more. I also gotta bring up Troy Baker as the Joker in this movie. Again, for those of you that don't know, in Batman the Animated Series with Kevin Conroy as Batman, Mark Hamill used to do the voice of the Joker. Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker from the original Star Wars trilogy. And for a lot of fans, Mark Hamill is freaking amazing as the Joker. And it's true. I mean, he is awesome as the Joker. If there's one character that Mark Hamill can get away from Luke Skywalker, it's the Joker. You know, he is also the Joker. And I remember back when The Dark Knight came out, there was a petition to get Mark Hamill to play the Joker. And, you know, obviously Mark Hamill knew his limitations, so he was really good at saying, you know, guys, I don't think I'm good for this role, but, you know, I trust in Christopher Nolan because I think he'll find someone that will be really good in this role. And even though he played the Joker again not too long ago, like a couple years back, maybe 3 years ago, maybe, I don't remember. It was I think it was the second Batman Arkham game, which this movie is based off of. This movie is based in that world of the Batman Arkham Asylum games. That's why it's called Assault on Arkham. And the Joker's design in the movie even looks like the Joker in the video games. And that's why Troy Baker in this movie is doing a Mark Hamill impression. He has to sound like how Mark Hamill sounded like in the first two Batman Arkham games. And I'm going to say this, if there's anybody to ever replace Mark Hamill as the Joker, it's Troy Baker. I think he did an excellent job. I totally thought, is this Mark Hamill? I didn't know if it was Mark Hamill at first. And when I went to check the credits on IMDb, I realized, wow, it's not Mark Hamill. This guy is totally new. And so I think he's definitely a great replacement for Mark Hamill. Now that Mark Hamill declared his retirement as the Joker, and you know, obviously he's going to be back on Star Wars. So Troy Baker, hopefully they bring him back more in these direct-to-videos as the Joker, because I thought he was excellent, especially if you want that Mark Hamill type of quality, which I noticed some actors have tried to mimic in other animated features and television shows. So yeah, Troy Baker, definitely would love to hear more from him if they ever decide to bring back that kind of Joker again, that kind of sound from him. Some of the things I really enjoyed about this movie were definitely scenes with the Suicide Squad, specifically the relationship between Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and the Joker, because they do kind of have this love triangle going on with these three, and it's pretty fun, especially when they get into Arkham and we see the Joker there for the first time, and Harley Quinn clearly has issues with the Joker from what he did to her in the past, and yeah, obviously it comes down to the end between this huge battle between the Joker and Deadshot, and it's a really cool battle between the two of them. And Harley Quinn, meanwhile, Harley Quinn's taking care of Batman, so it's a really cool love triangle there if you think about a twisted love triangle, but it's really cool. It's really cool how it's all played out throughout the movie. Speaking of Harley Quinn, I have to say how cool it was to see the character in... This is practically her first direct-to-video appearance, because besides Batman the Animated Series, which she was introduced in, you know, I know Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, she was in that one, but that one I don't count because that was before these DC Universe direct-to-videos started. With 2007, they started with Superman Doomsday, and since then, since Superman Doomsday, we haven't really seen Harley Quinn in this universe, unless you count that cameo in Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, where it was an alternate version of Harley Quinn, but she was named Yo-Yo. I don't really count that character as Harley Quinn, but I guess it was. But to me, this is her first official appearance in a direct-to-video, and it was really great seeing Harley Quinn again. And she had those characteristics that we all love and remember, even though she wasn't voiced by the original voice actress from the animated series. It was still great seeing the character because the character was still there, and the voice actress did a really great job too in this movie. Negatives, guys, I actually have no negatives for this movie. I gave the movie an 8 out of 10, and even though I have no cons, I think the reason I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 is because the things that I really, really enjoyed about this movie are just, I think they could have done even better. And everything, the animation, the story, everything about it, they could have done even better. I think they were doing great with it. I think they could have done better with it. And these animated, direct-to-videos from DC, to me, if there's one thing DC has over Marvel, it's their animation and TV properties right now. And I think this is one of those videos. If you've never seen any of their direct-to-videos before, go out and check them. I would recommend start with maybe this one first. There's a lot of really other good ones, but there's some that aren't as good and that might not win you over. This one might win you over. If you haven't seen a DC animated movie before, check out this one. This one might win you over and might get you interested to see some other ones. I'd say buy it. I'd say it's definitely worth buying, for sure if you're a Batman fan, for sure if you're a DC fan, and you want to see DC start getting up there with Marvel. And I even say buy it even if you're not a fan of DC or these superheroes, just buy it because it's a great animated movie. I look at these movies as small independent films. That's the way I look at these DC animated films. They're small independent films. They're not given a big budget like most Pixar and Disney films, They're given a smaller budget, but they do really good with what they're given. And the writing is really good. Like I said before, the animation is really good. The score feels like a very theatrical score. Yeah, these guys, man, they do a great job, and I love supporting these guys. So Bruce Timm and his team have always entertained nerds like me, I guess. And I've shown some of these movies to other people who aren't really into the whole superhero stuff, and even they admitted that they really do think the writing and animation is really good for these type of films, and they do look at it the way I do, as small independent type of films. So go check it out, guys. I think you'll be surprised. It's not always about Disney and Pixar, or DreamWorks. It's sometimes the smaller animated movies need love too. So go check out Batman: Assault on Arkham.